All right, welcome to Jack Dodson'S Racing Insider News this week. We got Jacob here tonight. How you guys doing? And Jack's got a bunch of news this week. I understand it was a calm week this week. I mean, I heard there was some stuff on the limited race or Virginia racers. I understand everybody keeps calling it limited Virginia. It is the Virginia racers, but
go ahead to stuff.
Plenty of time.
I ain't gonna get into that right now.
I think Hunter Waltrip's Pressure Washing Solutions, and shout out to him. His grandfather passed away. We talked about last week, and I seen how they were hauling the coffin out in one of the haulers. That was pretty neat. So thoughts and prayers to them, and thank Hunter for coming on this year. Was that in turn 2 synthetics, your independent AMSOIL dealer. So if you need any AMSOIL at the racetrack, hit Hunter up. Also got to mention Dave Millard's Medical Relief Charity Golf Tournament. I think they still have a couple spots left, and there's some people that want to get in on a team. So if you got a team or want to get on a team, hit Corey up. She will take care of you. The more, the better. Are you any good? Are you like me? You just hit the damn ball. All right. You got to thank GRIER and Associates with Mean Dean Automotive. And where's it at, Jack?
Moya.
He said it wrong, too?
Yeah.
Boyacht.
Moya. I said it right. You said it wrong. And they be getting on my case about saying it wrong. That's what I thought it was, too.
No. GRIER and Associates. Safety Clean, Performance Plus Motor Oil. Got to thank Chuck and Bill and Terry at Langley Speedway for allowing us to do the show here. We greatly appreciate those guys. Bonner's Brothers Distillery. One day Jack is going to go get us some samples or some bottles, and I know, right? That would be We could break it in.
I do have one in the car.
It's hot. You need to freeze. You need to freeze it, Jack, and then bring it. Mayhem Management.
Yes.
All right. Well, MPM Marketing, Tanya McAllister. Black Acid Racing Apparel. Gen X Motorsports, Driver Development and Race Rental. The show is presented by Gen X Motorsports. Really got to thank those guys for coming on board this year.
Also, the Driver of the Week. They're part of the Driver of the Week now.
Driver of the Week. Slinger Speed Company. VA 811 for coming back this year. Factory Canopies and Fluid Logic. They've been with us for quite a few years now. We really appreciate those guys coming on board. These nice chairs. We don't let Jack sit in these chairs.
I let the guests sit in the chairs.
Yeah, I'm not that nice. Papa John's generally has pizza here. So it's on the way.
That's what we've been told. It's on the way.
So we got to thank them for usually providing dinner for us. GAC, Great American Company, Garamoa Amaya.
There you go. You finally got it right.
Yeah, one of these days. With that, what's up, Brandy? Thanks, Brandy.
That's not your.
Oh, your shirt.
My shirt. Jeez,
Has it got the right number on it?
No, it's still not the right number. Still not the right number. We're supposed to be getting the real one, soon. So
I wonder if the ones that are messed up, if they're going to be collectors. You know how like when they misprint money, and later on they become more valuable.
Hey, I got one. I got it. I got the one she gave me today hanging up because I knew it wasn't the right one. So I got it hanging up. And I don't. That way, if it comes back later on, that's worth something. I'll have it with.
What's up, Rodney? How you doing, bud?
All right. Let's talk racing from this past weekend. In the Cup Series, it was a Truex weekend up at Dover this past weekend. The Cup Series, Martin Truex Jr. got the win. In the Xfinity Series, Brother Ryan got the win. In the ARCA East race, Man, I was so tickled to see this guy win the race. And it was really good to see. And I've talked to him, and we're going to have him on the show in the next week or two to talk about it. But Jake Finch got the win in the ARCA East race. Jake and I have a long history in the past.
I thought you were going to say that
No.
they had a relationship or something.
I've been around him a lot. I was around him when he was, see, that's what you got to deal with. I've been around him since he was a little fellow. Really happy to see him get a win. Down in Orange County this past weekend, in the pro late models, Thomas Enzanudo or Lenzanita or whatever his name is, got the win. Tristan McKee finished second. In the crate modifieds, Dale Ogburn got the win. And in the late model stocks, another one of our buddies, Buddy Isles Jr., got the win, followed by Camden Gullies. That's Buddy Isles' first win on asphalt. Yeah. I think this was his, third race that he's run on asphalt. He's been a big dirt racer.
Hey, Peggy, I remember you now, Peggy.
He ain't gonna say that. I thought, who's Peggy, right?
I know who Peggy is now.
All right. At Motor Mile, Mike Looney got both wins in the twin late models. In the Mod 4, Kevin Canner got another win. The guy's won 7 championships. I think he won what, 10 or 11 races straight last year. And he's already won like 4 or 5 this year.
It's like the Sean Beluso of there.
He's unbelievable. Down at Bowman Gray, late model race number 1, Chris Fleming got the win. Tim Brown finished second. Burt Myers was third. In race number 2 for the modifieds, Lee Jeffries got the win. Burt Myers finished second, and Puddin Swisher finished third. That's a name we need. That's what we need to name Jacob Puddin. Jacob Puddin Carr.
He might already have a good nickname somewhere. Do you have a nickname?
Yeah, actually, my old motor builder, Case Man, my nickname for him was Mo.
Mo.
Mm-hmm.
Down at Florence, in the late models, in Florence, Cody Kelly got another win. I think that's like 4 straight for him. At Hickory Motor Speedway this past weekend, late model race number 1, Landon Huffman got the win. Late model race number 2, Cade Brown got the win. And with that, Landon Huffman will be finishing the rest of the year up in the Cars Tour for Nelson Motorsports, replacing
Did not
Cale
see
Gale.
that coming.
Cale Gale.
Really?
So that's a surprise. I didn't think that was
That's a
going
real surprise. Cale Gale had done well. I mean, he ran in Truck Series for a while, ran Xfinity Series. I think drove for Kevin Harvick, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
For a few years.
Yeah. So
Didn't he win a race?
now that I'm not sure. I don't know.
I thought he did.
Down at Halifax on the dirt, super late model winner Dustin Mitchell, and in the limited sportsman division, Danny Hudson got the win. Danny Hudson's been down there for years. He was racing down there when I was racing dirt at Southampton. So
damn,
he's been around for a while.
Real long.
Dude, I invited you on the show. I don't know what you gonna start that for. I don't know what the heck you doing. All right, up at Dominion Speedway this past weekend. Just ignore Jacob Carr.
What's up, Donald Brown? Thank you, man.
Late model race number 1, Peyton Sellers got the win. Late model race number 2, GR Waltrip got the win. In the Grand National Super Stock Series, Jake Chrisman got the win. Jason Kitzmiller finished second. AJ Hendrickson finished third, and Jeremy Mayfield finished fourth. So Jeremy Mayfield's doing pretty good with that Grand National Super Series, or whatever they call it. And the Dominion stock winner was Dan Rogers. Here at Langley Speedway this past weekend. All right. We're going to tiptoe through the roses here. In modified race number 1, Matt Carter got the win. Late model race number 2, a surprise, Peyton Farid got the win. I mean, I know Peyton Farid can win races. I just, with Matt Carter.
What happened to Matt? He got tied up in traffic.
I don't know.
I didn't watch that.
I was here, and just looked like his car wasn't going forward.
Yeah. Butterbean finished second in the second race. In the first race, Butterbean finished sixth. Yeah. And guess who finished fifth? Riley Music. Riley Music. So you know he's going to talk some trash.
Oh, yeah.
All right, in the Virginia Racers Limited Late Model Division,
Who got the win?
Cody Bryant. Cody Bryant got the win.
Hey, you know what? Everybody is still talking. I mean, that class is turning to be such a good class, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you're kind of a young guy, right? But I mean, you got these young kids coming up, and look, they're going to run into each other. One, they're still learning a little bit. I mean, they have some experience, but they're still fairly new to stock car racing.
Yeah, and it's getting a lot of attention.
We're talking about it, right?
Yeah, but it's getting a lot of attention. A lot of people are very interested in how things are going right now.
I mean, the class is getting big. There's a lot of people. It's a very interesting class. I think it's great. I think it's doing great. I know there's some people that's not happy with how the finish went, right?
Right.
But it's part of racing. I don't think Cody Bryant did anything wrong. Was he aggressive? Yeah.
Nobody's stuff got tore up.
You know, was it a little bit of aggressive? Yes. But everybody has different personalities, right?
Yeah.
Jack was slow, so everybody went by him. It wasn't a problem. You know.
What the hell is this tonight, huh?
You know, would I have done it, or would I don't know. Maybe I probably would have. It just depends. I mean, it depends on if you've won. If I'd won the week before, or maybe if I'd have won a bunch of races, maybe I wouldn't have been as aggressive. But if I hadn't, oh yeah, I'd have stuffed it down in there. I don't know about this apron rule. I've heard some about.
All right, we got a driver here. He doesn't want to race this year. Have you heard about the apron?
That's like, I mean, I was in the ditch. I don't know anything with the apron rule.
I thought that.
I mean, it's been a little bit of a talk. I have never heard anything about.
I've never heard
in the go karts and the bandos. Yes, I could certainly see that because they will cause some.
So what are they saying though? You can't pass in the apron.
That was some of the wording that was.
But
being,
I've not heard that, and I'm gonna get with Justin, and we're going to. I'm gonna find out the rule about it because everybody's griping, but yet I've heard nothing about it. And normally Justin, he would make that a known factor somewhere along the line. And how many times have we seen people go down on that bottom down there to go around cars?
Well, I mean, so far as like the limited or the late models or even the modifieds, when you run side by side, most of the time you're on the apron. The lower car is on the apron because you kind of split the difference above the line. The line is in the middle of the car.
Yeah.
And it depends on how your car is running. I think it's great for the sport. It's great for the class because people are talking about it, right? I know Jacob is not happy. Who wouldn't be upset to have a 5-second lead and have it diminished and then get roughed up a little bit, cut her tire? That's kind of insult to injury, right? He's going to win races.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going to win races.
I mean, he's going to come back and get another 5-second lead and win a race.
Right. I mean, he's got great help and he's in a fast car, and I love it, to be honest. I think it's great, and you just race people how they race you.
Yeah.
You know, it's good for everybody here.
Absolutely.
I mean, that gives them something to really look forward to, like get a
It'd be
rivalry.
boring if everybody
It's
just
like
stayed.
it's like when Rick Powell said Jacob Carr can't drive.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
that's just the way it. You know,
He needs to get a bigger motor.
Yeah, and
I forgot where to start.
So you didn't know Rick had a big motor in the truck?
Oh yeah, I mean that thing's huge.
Well, he did. All right, in the bandos, Brian Runstrom Jr. got the win. The Legends, Tommy Jackson Jr. got the win. U-Cars, Christian Keller. Enduros, Mikey Chin. Down at New River, All-American Speedway, the late models, TJ Barron got the win. All right, in some other news, I want to send out our thoughts to Darren Cockrum, who had a hell of a wreck at Kingsport Friday night. And I mean, They ended up having to take him out of there, and he ended up spending some couple nights in the hospital. But he was in pretty bad shape. But from what I understand, it was nothing.
What was it at?
The late models.
Oh, really?
Oh,
And so what I understand is he's not he got any lasting injuries. It was a concussion and some other stuff there. But glad he's back, and send him my thoughts and prayers, and maybe he'll be back real soon. Big news today: Legacy Motorsports has decided they're going to go to Toyota for 2024.
I mean, who thought that might have been I'd never seen that coming.
I'm sorry, that accident was it happened at Motor Mile. Did not happen at
Okay.
Kingsport. I got it.
Oh, Andrew's he's
Andrew's,
straightening you out now.
Yeah, Andrew's going to start.
Usually it's Mason.
Mason's probably asleep right now.
Or drunk.
Anyway, the Legacy Motorsports going to Toyota. Didn't expect it.
No.
The talk was today that Jimmy Johnson's always been heavily supported by Chevrolet and always all this other stuff, and now going Toyota. And all the Toyotas are going to work together. It's all going to be under the banner that they're going to work together with the Gibbs and everybody. So that could benefit them.
Oh, not 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not running as well as you think they would be running, right? I mean, there's some other teams that are back there that are doing well with this new car, and this new car has leveled the playing field. But I never thought I'd see it, but I understand it. Toyota's been looking for another team to add to the mix. And in the Chevrolet camp, the problem is Jimmy Johnson's down here. Yeah. He is a 7-time champ. Yeah. Richard Petty is a 7-time champ. But you have Hendricks, you have Childress, you have Trackhouse. Yeah. I don't know how heavily they are supported, but there's really so many. And you have Colleague. And I'm, and they're going to be just not enough support that Chevrolet has for it to reach that far. Right. I mean, I'm sure they get something, but so I could see the appeal. You go there and you're going to get good stuff, and they're going to share information, and you're going to be in this small group.
But I guess it's the theory of being a big fish in a small group. Mm-hmm. Or a small pond, or I guess what you would say.
Well, you're still going to be probably in the end because you're still at the bottom tier of that.
But you and I already know that being in a Toyota and being associated with Joe Gibbs and everything, how that works out, because we had a friend that did that. And
well, right, and that brings up a good thing. But I've seen in some of the descriptions that they're going to get motors and stuff, but Legacy is going to do their own cars. So I don't know how.
All right, now how you do your own cars when you're getting the cars from
NASCAR, right?
Everybody's going to have the same stuff.
Whereas before we knew a person that had a Toyota team, and people were wondering why they weren't running as good as the other Toyota teams, is because they had the third or fourth generation behind that. They weren't getting the good stuff because they weren't in secret. And my understanding that in that time frame, Gibbs, they had so much resources and money that their cars were running one race and they were already redesigning another one. So those cars, and then what they would do is they would use them to their second tier teams and stuff that they were feeding. That they were paying a big chunk for.
But now that's null and void at this point now. So that's everybody on their own. So that's going to be a big deal. And also the Legacy GMS thing,
trucks
is not involved in this. So Rajay will still be driving a Chevrolet.
I wonder if that'll, and so he's contracted with Chevrolet.
Right.
So I wonder if that will change that. Or I wonder if because Toyota needs some trucks, right? Or they don't have many trucks.
They don't have many trucks in the field.
Right. Especially with, you have Kyle Busch just switched over to Chevrolet,
I thought what is it, Thor Sports, the only one's got?
I think so. I think there's one other team, but it's a small team.
So, I mean, up front would be Thor Sports.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I want to say something about the Legends cars. Tommy wins the race. I mean, Tommy's the man to beat in that class, right? But I did look at some of the times for practice from Dover that, you had Cody Carlton was top of the board, and then I forget who was second there. And I was like, damn, well, maybe Jackson's going to have, maybe he's going to have his hands full. It's going to make a good race. So,
I think Cody, if he didn't get involved in that incident down in turn 3 and 4, I think Cody would have won that race.
Oh, really?
Cody was on a move.
I know Jacob wants to beat Jackson, but looks like he's gonna have a few other people to beat even if he still wants to beat Jackson.
Yeah. All right. Also, I got a message today from Doug Richard. He's a legendary crew chief in NASCAR. His wife Robin is really sick with cancer. I put on my Facebook page today. There's a GoFundMe account. Doug's not able to work right now because he's having to take care of Robin, and so there's a page on my Facebook page. There is a GoFundMe thing for Doug and Robin. So please, if you can, please help them because she's been fighting this now. I know of at least a couple years or maybe longer, off and on. I mean, and it's come back big time this time, and I know it's got to be hard for Doug to reach out and say, look, I need some help. Will you please announce it? And so, Doug, we're thinking of you. I've always been a big Doug Richard fan. Even when he was with Key Motorsports and they weren't doing much.
You didn't have to go there.
So anyway,
won a championship at was he like 18 years old?
Yeah.
With Dale Senior, he was a crew chief. Halfway through the season, they put him in. Rookie year 1980.
So please think about them and help them if you can. That would be.
I don't even know if he was 18 or not because he was pretty young when that deal was going on.
Yeah,
he was from California.
Who we have on here
like
that
16.
Who was it we have on here said was him?
It was Doug.
It was Doug talking about that they had to get permission
from his parents.
From his parents to go out there and do that. And so anyway, all right, that's our news for tonight, and we got a good show tonight. It was better, but Jacob Carr showed up, and anyway, we're gonna have we got Jacob and we've got Jeff Hammond at 7:30 tonight. That's gonna I can't wait. He wants to talk a little bit about Wilkesboro. He's got a lot of involvement down at Wilkesboro, and
he won a couple races down there.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Wilkesboro and maybe a couple other things along the way too. So anyway, and then we're gonna have the guy who's moved into this limited.
We call him Little Shit.
Virginia race. Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to go there with that, but anyway, yeah. The Little Shit Riley music is going to be with us later on. But we got Jacob Carr here now, winner of the first truck race this year, coming back to the Truck Series this year.
Yeah.
So are you happy to be back? And man, explain that melee down there on that last lap. You just threaded your way on through that thing.
Yeah, I mean, that last little bit of the race was definitely interesting. I mean, coming to the green, white checkered there, and going down the backstretch, I saw them get together, and I originally tried to dive down under them, but I had a lot of speed coming into the corner, and I didn't notice they were as checked up as they were, and I guess got right into the back of Chris there. But yeah, I mean, pretty much when I got into the back of him, I kind of broke the truck sideways perfectly, and I just saw like the gap there, and I turned the wheel and just put it to the floor and just try to drive it right out. But and it worked. I mean, it did work, but yeah, it was interesting.
Well, I mean, it's got to be. It is interesting the way that thing ended up. Rick Poust and his big motor.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get to finish race. He said, if he had a decent truck, he said you couldn't outrun him. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So you ain't buying none of this, are you?
No.
Now I understand you worked on your truck Friday night late.
Yeah, I mean, I
didn't even put it on the scales.
About to say I bought that truck
Wednesday
at 9:00 Wednesday night, and I kind of joked around that I was going to run that weekend because the truck didn't have a motor in it, and I joked around, and more as the next day went on, the joke was kind of wanting to become a reality in my head. So I woke up Friday morning, and I'd bought the truck from Jared Satterley.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
Jack, I don't know if Jack knew that.
Yeah, I bought the truck from Jared, and I called Jared that morning because when I bought the truck, of course, it was late. It was late at night. It was dark, so we didn't want to put a bunch of motor parts in the back of my truck. I think it was raining, and so I told him, just bring the motor parts to the track Saturday. I'll be here. So I called him Friday morning and was like, hey, I need to come pick that motor up. I'm gonna try to put the motor together and run. He was like, you're crazy. You think it's gonna happen? But you can come get it. So I came and got it and got back to the house and did a couple things. Needed to get some stuff to put the motor together. And I started working on the motor. And bare block, didn't have any pistons, rods, nothing. Started working on it about 8 o'clock Friday night. And my crew chief, Aaron, I didn't even tell him I was doing this yet. He was working late that night. He got off about 9 o'clock. He called me because we were planning to come to the track the next day. He called me. He was like, so what do you want to do for tomorrow? Like, what time are we going to go to the track? I said, well, it all depends on how the night goes. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm trying to get this motor together and get it in the truck so we can run tomorrow. Without hesitation, he's like, all right, I'll be there in 30 minutes. So he got there. By the time he got there, it was about 10:30. And I pretty much had the motor almost completely built by that time. And by the time he got there, we just had to throw a couple of things together there. And then we positioned the truck because, I mean, I don't even have a race shop. Well, all I literally did was I took a wall out of my screened-in porch. I have a really big screened-in porch. I took the wall out of the screened-in porch because it has a nice concrete pad. And I pulled the front of the race truck into there, and it fit perfect with that and the engine hoist. And we got the motor done in there. It took a little while to get it mated up to the transmission since the transmission was in the truck already. We got everything mated up and put in, hooked up. Everything was done by like 4:30 Friday. Well, technically Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So and come out here with no numbers.
I'm about to say, I mean, we didn't even start it that night because, I mean, I kind of have neighbors and I kind of don't. So I was like, I don't want to start it this late. See, so we woke up at like 8 o'clock. It was like 7:30 the next morning. So we got a couple hours of sleep, went out there, and it fired right up. So I was like, all right, let's load it. So we loaded it and got here. And of course, I mean, like you said, I couldn't scale it. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if this truck was just going to plow through the corner, if it was going to be loose. I didn't know. So we didn't
give Jared any credit for any of this.
Yeah,
he was the setup man.
Well, I mean, apparently he didn't touch the setup. Apparently that setup was Ronald Klein all the way. But I mean, of course, I can give Jared a little credit there. So, but I mean, we tried to get out first practice. We couldn't make it. We had some fuel problems we were dealing with.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
And so we got all the fuel problems figured out. By the time we got them figured out, second practice has already happened. So I mean, I have 0 laps in this truck. So the only lap I turned in it was qualifying. And
then goes out and wins the race.
I was sad. The lap I turned in qualifying, I was happy with. I was like, I mean, I didn't even push it in qualifying. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I still turned 19.3. I was happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, you were running what, 4th most of the race?
I mean, I was about to say, I mean, we were running 4th most of the race, and I mean, of course, at one point before one of the cautions came out, I think the leaders, I think Hunter and Chris, they did kind of get a pretty decent lead on us all. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I was content with 4th. Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew we had a 4th place truck that night. I wasn't mad just because I knew nothing about the truck at all.
All right, let's go ahead and get Jeff on here and talk to him, and so we'll come back to you in a minute. Yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's get the the big man on the show.
What's up, Jeff? How you doing, bud?
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going down there, man?
It's going good.
It's going good.
Just relaxing a little bit.
Well, hey, everybody needs to relax some. I'm still waiting for me to have a relaxing after the last 2 weeks. I'm still waiting for mine. But anyway, What we want to talk to you about is Wilkesboro. To give us an update on everything going on down at Wilkesboro. I know you're very heavily involved in the things at Wilkesboro.
Well, let's just say I'm heavily involved as far as just trying to make sure I give a lot of moral support, and whenever they need me to do something, I try to be there for it. Really excited about. I guess really at the end of the week, it'd be one of the first events we're really going to kind of be kicking things off. I'm going to be joining the Sheriff's Department up in Wilkes County, and we're going over to the Call Brewery, and we're going to give away some tickets. I mean, they have the Sheriff's Department was giving some tickets to give away to some fans, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to draw those tickets to some lucky winner and spend a little time with those folks. And we're going to be kind of like officially kicking off May as far as All-Star Week in Wilkes County with that. And we've got golf tournaments coming up. As far as the racetracks is concerned, don't sweat it. We're going to be perfect by the time we get ready to drop the green flag on the All-Star event. But all the events prior to that, the racetrack's ready to race, guys. I mean, it looks awesome. And except for maybe a little bit of signage that they're working on, it's in perfect condition. Grandstands are fantastic. All of the hospitality suites and all the scoring suites and everything that NASCAR needs and TV needs, it's ready. So it's just a matter of, making sure we got some good weather come that weekend, and we'll make it happen.
It's kind of interesting, though, that they got it turned around and got all that stuff done basically in a very short time. I mean, that's really, they've done a lot in a short period of time to get it done.
Well, they have with the amount that they took on after all the races that were run at the end of 2022. They did a major overhaul of, the safer barriers, the catch fence, grandstands, and the infield. But I want to make sure everybody understands they haven't touched the racetrack. That's the same racetrack that they ran the last Cup race on. That's the same racetrack that the modifieds and all the late model guys from last year, the Cars Tours, raced on. It hasn't had anything done to it. The only thing that's been done is manufacturers, as well as the truck series and some Cup drivers have been up there, working with NASCAR and Goodyear, getting everything ready for the upcoming event.
I didn't know that. I actually like that, having the old asphalt.
Yeah.
It'll chew the tires up, but that place is always kind of hard on tires anyway, right?
Well, it's always been, but at the same time, it's going to be like old school hard. And if you try to drive if you get too aggressive with this racetrack, it will literally eat the tires right off the car. I mean, Goodyear can bring all their magic, but the only way you're going to make race cars race competitively is bring enough of a tire to get grip on it, and you got to take care of them.
Well, with all the success that you and DW had there at Wilkesboro, I mean, it's got to be, it's got to be good for you to see that bringing it back, and they're gonna have a big race there, and maybe it's going to be a part of the landscape for a few years to come.
Well, we hope so. I mean, that's the big idea right now, is that, I think that 2022 opened a lot of people's eyes. And fortunately, Marcus Smith, excuse me, was in a position to talk with NASCAR. Excuse me, got a tickle in my throat. And convince them that this would be a great event at Wilkesboro, North Wilkesboro, I should say. NASCAR agreed, and to sweeten the pot, they decided to bring the trucks along with it. And then we got the Cars Tour and everything lined up. But it's so gratifying to see where we've come from. And I say we. I'm one of those behind the scenes kind of people, but to see that on one Saturday, the major transformation of North Wilkesboro by the community, I think somewhere around 125 to 150 volunteers went up there and showed everybody that was watching is that we want racing back here in North Wilkesboro. We will support it. We're getting things ready for it. And then when he had the modified race, Smart Tour was up there, Cars Tour up there last year, the people showed up. And I think everybody felt the energy, saw the turnout and the support that was there, and rewarded them for all of that work and all that, enthusiasm. And I think everybody who understands short track racing, when the fans are there, the racing is at its best. And we saw that last year. And I think that we will not be disappointed this coming May 21st. I think it is 21st for the All-Star event. And I think the truck race is going to be kick-ass also.
It's kind of interesting to know that, I think her name is Terry Parsons, Benny's wife, and all her involvement in it and everything. I've talked to her a couple times, and it's really good to see that they are coming out and going to support this to get it back and get it running again. I think it's much needed.
It is. I mean, but it's also much deserved. That county has suffered tremendously since the losing of that race, and it has really rejuvenated the spirit of the folks in Wilkes County, and those who understand the dynamic of how North Wilkesboro and Wilkesboro have worked together in the past compared to how they work together now and what it looks like in the future is so gratifying. And I don't think I'd be speaking out of turn when I say at one time it was a little bit like the Hatfields and McCoys. Wilkesboro didn't like North Wilkesboro, and North Wilkesboro didn't like Wilkesboro. And they had a hard time coming together. But when this opportunity presented itself, they did. And I think that everybody who goes to this event and is getting the opportunity to experience the hospitality they're going to experience, I think it'll blow their socks off. Because everybody's so excited about racing coming back. And I'm talking about what they want to consider big time racing, which means, one of the big three series, which is the Craftsman Truck Series, and then having the All-Star event like they are. I mean, they got smiles on their faces. I've been in Christmas parades. I've been to a lot of different events, and that's all the people can talk about. And I'm excited for them. I think that's the most gratifying thing for me, is to see that it does mean something to them. And racing should mean something to you. It should be special. And I'll tell anybody out there who's privileged enough to have a racetrack in their backyard, and it doesn't have to be a NASCAR sanctioned track. I'm talking local short track, dirt track, road course. It doesn't matter. Cherish it. It's special. And support it, because once it leaves, a lot of times you don't get a second chance like North Wilkesboro did.
No.
Yeah, we went through that here at Langley. We had a shutdown year, and there was a lot of concern about not coming back. And, luckily they got it back, and it's big and strong as it ever has been here. So I think that's exactly what Wilkesboro is going to do. And I think it's really good that they're going to have like the Cars Tour and all them coming there too. I think that's going to be huge for that area.
It will be, and especially, since we've got Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick and a couple other people showing up that, know that's going to be a special event. And it's like everybody says, you want to be the first to do something, and you want to be the first of being kind of like something that's brand new. I know last year people that won modified races, they're very proud of the trophies. Same way with, the first winner of the Cars Tour race last year. But I think this year it's going to be even more special for a lot of these drivers, just like a Kevin Harvick in his final year, sticking his toe back into, the Cars Tour, and he and Dale Jr., getting a chance to race against each other again. I think a lot of fans are going to really love that.
I think it's going to be huge. And that Cars Tour is like an old time, to me, like old time racing in the past. I mean, it's, you got a lot going on there, and it's a lot of fun to see those guys get out there and race. And when Dale Jr. showed up at Florence and all of those places, I mean, it just blew it out of the water. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Well, I think that, Junior Johnson told us this many years ago before he passed, that, you have to return to your roots. And he was referring to the racetrack, that NASCAR needed to return to North Wilkesboro because it was one of the original racetracks. It was one of the founding tracks.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people and a lot of things that were done around that part of the country before they ever wound up in Daytona to officially, I guess you say, certify and create NASCAR that we know today.
Right.
And its involvement is huge in the history of the sport. And in its 75th year, how fitting that we're going back to our roots.
Mm.
And I think that same way with drivers. I think a lot of race car drivers, they love going back to their roots. And I think that's what Kevin's doing. There again, that's what Dale Jr.'s doing. I mean, heck, that's when we see guys like Kyle Larson or Tony Stewart, going back and running dirt tracks. I mean, that's where their roots were.
Yeah.
He can't make his mind up what he wants to race most today, but anything that Tony Stewart gets in, he makes it into a winner.
You got that right. I mean, I never expected to be a winner in a drag car like he was. That was pretty.
Just goes to show you how talented he is.
Well, he's got a lot of talent. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But Jeff, back in those days when you were involved with Junior Johnson and all those guys, and you raced at Wilkesboro, what are some of the highlights in your mind of some of the things that happened at Wilkesboro during your time?
A lot of people have asked me that, and trying to say highlights and quantify it to just Junior. I mean, when I worked with Kel Yarborough up there, when he drove for Junior, he was tough up there. Same thing. And when Daryl showed up and we got him hooked up like he needed to be, I think we've been to victory lane, like 7 times or something like that over that period. And it was when we raced there, it was not to be sounding conceited, but we were racing for pride because that was our racetrack in Junior's backyard. And I got news for you. You didn't want Flossie Johnson coming down there on a Monday morning after you got your butt kicked on a Sunday afternoon. That was the thing, is the pressure that we were under a lot of times to make sure we got the job done. Made it kind of like a little bit, kind of confused you about what went on because we were so entrenched in making sure we took the best car. I mean, we treated North Wilkesboro races just like we treated a Daytona 500 as far as preparation and not leaving anything on the table. Those are the things I remember, and how much fun it was to race up there because of the home field advantage, you might say, and all of the support that you got from all the local folks and everything, the companies around there. Back in my early days, it was originally the Holly Farms races that were run there, and to have all the folks from the Holly Farms chicken plant coming out there and fixing chicken for us and taking care of the crews. I mean, that made it very unique unto itself because we didn't have a lot of racetracks that were willing to, feed crews and take care of us when we're at the racetrack back in the early days. And then I guess one of the most satisfying wins actually came after I'd left Junior. And that was when I was with Daryl and we left Rick Hendrick and didn't have Tide any longer. But we had, what am I trying to say here? Parts of America, Western Auto, excuse me. Western Auto was first, and then we went out to Parts of America. But that first race up there with Darwall Incorporated, Daryl's race team that we were able to win, that one was so sweet because, I think Daryl and I both kind of like looked at it. Whenever you can go there and you can beat Junior Johnson and his bunch, I mean, it's a special day. It really is. And even more special when you build a team from the ground up and you build new cars and then you go up and you go to a racetrack and you know that you know the track, but can you put it all together? And to have a bunch of new people in a lot of different places, and being able to pull off a win up there and get to ride up the elevator. That was a good day.
Yeah, I forgot about the elevator. That was kind of the only place that did that. They lifted the car up and put it on top of the roof, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
They're the ones that kind of started that little tradition, and then they got something similar to it up there at Bristol, but you drive up the ramp to get there. But having the elevator and the lift, they got that in Indy now. But I think North Wilkesboro kind of started that deal first and giving it an opportunity. The Wilkesboro, Martinsville, and a lot of the other places, even Bristol, Richmond, they didn't have no real special victory lane. And you a lot of times just do that there on the front straightaway. And then North Wilkesboro came up with the lift and putting the car up on top. That was a desire, and kind of like something, a little bucket list type deal. You got to check that lock off right there, because you need to ride the elevator sometime.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hey Jeff, I got a question. Somebody sent me a question, want me to ask you, and this doesn't have anything to do with Wilkesboro, but it has something to do with the All-American 400 a few years back when Darrell Waltrip was racing them. You were down there with Darrell, and something about the power steering went out on there, and something you told him that he needed to do when he was driving. Bill Petroff is the guy who asked me the questions. I don't know if you know him or not.
I don't remember Bill's the last name. I don't, but that doesn't mean I don't remember the face. What did I tell him to do?
Yeah, he said it was something funny. You told that he was talking about the power steering being out, and you told him something funny to get it straightened out, told him how to drive it or something, and everybody busted out laughing or something. That's what he asked me.
I've told Darrell this a couple times, and it could have been that day also. It's kind of like, work your hands, not your mouth. Save your energy.
I imagine that was quite awful.
Save your energy.
Yeah, I think you had to do that quite a few times, didn't you?
Well, the thing about Darrell is, he performed when you were telling him how great he was, and I didn't mind doing that. I mean, I was a dang good cheerleader, but I was also a good, I guess you call me almost like a sports psychologist, because I learned that you let him vent, let him fuss and cuss and go on to me, as long as I could get him refocused back on driving the car, and that meant a lot also. Our favorite agreement between the two of us is whatever is said on Sunday or Saturday, whenever we're racing, but whatever's said on race day is forgot on Monday.
Yeah.
You don't take it personally. Just whatever it takes to get to victory lane.
And that's a very important aspect that people don't understand. As the driver, he's got nothing else. He ain't got nobody to bitch to, complain to. It's just you. And you do have to be somewhat of a psychologist to sort of let him vent so he can get back to business and not let him get derailed. And I think that's important for any crew chief today,
Well, we were going through a kind of like a growth spurt, you might say, in the business. When I first started with Junior, we only had 2 radios, and Junior used to wear it, and Cale had one. And as we went along, Junior didn't like talking on the radio, and I didn't mind talking, so he'd give me his radio, and I did the talking to Cale. But my point is, we had no spotters back then. Drivers were all on their own. They were totally alone in that car. And with Cale, he didn't mind you, give him some lap times or talking to him a little bit, but he wasn't like Darrell. Darrell wanted somebody talking to him, give me lap times, every lap, tell me what I'm doing, tell me I'm doing great, blah, 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 blah. He didn't want to be out there alone, you might say. And we still didn't have spotters. I mean, a lot of people did not realize spotters didn't come on the scene until like 1990. And Darrell was one of the big reasons for that, because that's when he got his leg broke at Daytona in a practice crash after somebody left a plug out of the rear end housing, and them boys got into the oil and were spinning out in practice, and Dave Marcus hit him in the driver's door. But that's when we first started using people, and when they called them spotters, but they didn't even have a place to put them on the roof like they do today, that your spotter had to be on top of the truck. And NASCAR would check and make sure everybody had a spotter up there during the practice sessions. And it's evolved into the elaborate got to have the best spotter in the world that, you know what I'm saying, that can help you drive your car, guys like they are today. So it's been an evolution. And so when, in my case, I was that guy that was inside the car with him back in the day, and talking to him and trying to coach him up and, you know, make him feel good and let him know that if we got a problem, we'll get it fixed.
Well, Jeff, we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. I know you're a busy person, got a lot going on. I want to thank you for being, you know, coming on. I've talked to you, and you're always willing to come and talk to us, and I really appreciate that. And hopefully we can get together and see you again real soon at one of the racetracks and talk to you again.
Well, I'll be glad to do that. And again, yeah, hopefully, you know, over the month of May when we're around the Charlotte area, and not just maybe North Wilkesboro, but maybe at Charlotte during the Coca-Cola 600, we can cross paths down there. But, you know, appreciate you allowing me to be a part of your program and you know, converse a little bit with you guys as well as your listeners. I mean, again, if without our fans, you know what, we ain't diddly squat.
You got that right. You're exactly right.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate you giving us the time tonight, and we'll hopefully have you back on real soon. We'll talk to you again.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
I don't care what anybody says. That's still one of my heroes.
Oh, he was the man.
Jeff and Darrell Waltrip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm probably the only guy that had a Darrell Waltrip stand up in his living room. Okay, I had a Darrell Waltrip stand up. I got pictures. And right
Jeff may
now,
not come back on the show if you know you're that big of a fan.
and I also at one point had pictures of him and Jeff and Darrell Waltrip, and the big thing was when they won the Daytona 500 and he threw the helmet. Jeff is standing right there, you know, and I got that picture. I got that picture framed, and I got little crazy stuff. And they did a video, on a VHS video of a race, like a whole
We
week.
even know what a VHS tape is.
See, we didn't even have to go there with that. See, Jacob's already he's already on the bad side here. Anyway. All right, but before we get back to Jacob, I see that guy they call the little shit.
What's up, little shit? How you doing?
Oh, Scott,
Man,
we're talking about heroes, and I'm over here thinking, man, I get to talk to my hero in just a couple minutes.
Who's your hero?
Jacob?
Scott Allen.
Yeah, okay.
Scott Allen.
Wait a minute. Are you letting your mama work on the car back there?
No.
I was going to say.
I had it.
Wait a minute. We're getting ready to turn you off.
I got it.
We're getting ready to turn you off. You think Scott Allen's your hero? I mean, good God, you ain't got a whole lot of things to talk about, and you got a legend walking around in your shop, and you're talking about Scott Allen's a hero?
Yeah, Scott Allen's my hero. I mean,
Oh, Lord.
I know who can just drive that good.
I don't know what I've done, but something's coming.
Drive that good. Where did you see him drive that good? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, probably the best thing I've ever seen him do is hit the brake on a restart. Going to
That took a lot of talent, didn't it?
Oh, it took a lot. I mean, how do you get
Not
that?
anybody can just do that.
Scott, you've been shifting gears for I don't know how many years. Still messed up.
Hey, look, wait a minute now. And now he's got a Tesla.
A Tesla? Oh my.
He's got a Tesla. Now he's not even driving a car. I mean, you know, he just rides.
It just drives itself.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
You know, but ever since he had that wreck, and you know, that time and got beat up pretty bad in that wreck, they went on and bought a Tesla because they figured that it can drive better than he can. So,
I mean, it probably could. Let's let that thing auto drive around the racetrack. Might finally beat Travis Wall.
Well, it's nice having you on the show.
hey, look, man, tell us a little bit about all this double duty you're doing with the modifieds and the limiteds. You're doing a pretty good job with it, and I know you stay pretty busy with all that.
Yeah, I'm staying pretty busy. It's getting rough. I'm really not excited for my double doubles in 2 weeks. I think twin limiteds, twin mod. I'm really not looking forward to it because I was sore this Sunday getting out of that modified, actually finishing a race. But I mean, I'm having fun with it. I'm still learning in the modified. It's a really tough division. I mean, that car won the Palooza race, but it was set up more for Brendan. It's not where I like it yet. We're still working to get it close. I mean, me as a driver, I got to get better to compete with Matt and all of them. They're just incredibly tough. Like, you going from limited to late model or going from limited to modified, they're all different talents, and it's all a different struggle. Like, the limited this year is a huge struggle with Jacob and Cody and Nestor. He's up there. Like, it's a big struggle, but it's given me a different type of learning I didn't have last year. And I might not be having as much fun as I was last year right now, but that's because obviously you want to win, and running third and fourth ain't the most fun thing to do. So we're just working to get better, and we've been working to get better, and I've been spending nights and days out here. I get home from school and just spend hours working on my car. I spent 3 hours at the Gale Force probably yesterday setting up 3 different shocks. So it's just a different learning curve. Like, we're going to go test tomorrow and try and get better and see if we can compete with Cody.
Are you going to test just the limit, or are you going to do both limited and the modified?
Well, I got a couple weeks off with the modified, so I'm going to wait until we finally race again. I'm going to get my limited program back to where it should be, because we're farther off from what we were last year at this time. Like, I like to say I was on my A game at this time last year. Right now, I feel like I'm on my B game. I'm lacking myself as a driver, and I don't feel like the car's all the way there either. So we're going to go work tomorrow on the car and myself and hopefully get better.
What kind of things are you going to try?
I can't tell you all that. Like, all I'm going to say is the only thing that hasn't changed since last year and this whole year is probably the right front spring. I've changed track bar height, springs, sway bars. Everything's different than it was last year. The only thing that's not different is the nut between the seat and the steering wheel, and he might not be that good this year.
What's been the hardest thing on the modified to get used to?
Ooh, hardest thing. I mean, it's a lot. It's twitchy. Like, with the pedal, it's super twitchy. But my biggest thing, the car doesn't drive different from a limited or a late model. They all drive the same, in my opinion. But the two things that are really weirding me out with it, my car has hanging pedals. That thing has floor-mounted pedals, and it really bothers my ankles how I have to set my feet. And I'm just used to it, so I'm struggling with that. And the weirdest thing to me is when you turn off for the corner and the 2 front wheels pop up over the hood like that.
I can see where the pedals would be funky. Yeah. That would be difficult for me.
I'm getting to where I'm liking them, and if we ever get another car, I want to put floor-mounted pedals in that, because I'm starting to really like them over my hanging pedals.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really starting to like them, but it's like the pivot of your foot. Like, you're taking your foot and doing like that, and with the pedal floor-mounted, it goes like that with instead of a hanging one where you push it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to really like them better than what's in my car now. But my car's how it is. I'm not going to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it takes a smart guy to be able to do stuff like that. So, you and Scott are not in that category yet. Thank God you got Phil. So, I mean,
Now, did you go over and talk trash to Brendan after the race last week?
No, I went over and talked to him, but it wasn't about that. It was more about personal stuff I'm struggling about with the car, and just I didn't talk trash to him. I really wanted to beat Brendan. Like, you don't understand how bad I wanted to beat Brendan. Like,
yeah, I do. I know how you are. I know how you are.
Well, I look at Brendan like a big brother. He's taught me a lot of everything I know as a driver. And without him, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at, because I was under the Brendan Queen development. And he taught me a lot as a driver, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without him. So beating him was a milestone goal for me. But he can still school me. He showed me that in the second race. But I was worried on the top, because you know how them things are. If you touch tires, it can be over like that. And I was real skittish with that. So I was real skittish with trying to pass, like in the first race. I was trying to get inside of Brad, and I kept messing up. Well, I finally got inside going into 3, and he just sent her off in there and cleared me. And it was the weirdest thing, because I'm so worried about clipping the right front tire on the left rear and hurting myself or someone else.
Well, I was gonna say that's probably like one of the harder things to me. It seemed like that would be the hardest thing to get used to, because with the limited, with a body, you can lean on one another a little bit and no harm, no foul.
See,
This doesn't really do that.
I don't like really hitting somebody with the door and the limited, so like I don't try to. I'm still skittish with my own car with fenders, but it's still weird with the tires out like that. I'm not, and it's
So
going to take.
So what you're telling us is you don't like to be physical.
I will get physical if I have to, but I don't prefer it. I'd rather have side-by-side racing for 50 laps than just running over somebody in the first corner.
So you wouldn't go down into turn 1 and down there and kind of door somebody to get by them? You wouldn't do that?
I mean, I thought I seen it in that video that came
I
out
thought
there.
I did too. That's where I was getting to.
Which I don't know which pass you're talking about. Can
It
you?
was 18, I think.
18 on the final restart.
I don't know when it was. Isn't that video that did?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
All right. We'll just drop that little notion right there, because you're doing a good job playing it off. I know how you are.
I really don't know what you're talking about.
He's not that smart.
Now, Riley, tell us about you and Cody and Jacob, Derek, Aiden, Milet, all you guys that are running this limited Virginia Racer, whatever you want to call it. Y'all big friends and everything.
Is that difficult, being good friends and then racing each other, and then you're going to get into each other at some point?
Well, the way I look at it, as soon as you strap that helmet on, it don't matter who friends are and who they ain't. It just doesn't matter. You strap that helmet on and you're just a nobody in that helmet. So you got to race them like you would anybody else. I'm not going to race Brendan differently than I'm going to race Ryan Matthews or Greg Edwards. I'm not going to race them any different. They're all equal. But that's just the way I look at it. Some people will cut a little bit of slack for their friends or family. Like, I won't cut Doug no slack. He cut me slack Saturday, luckily. I don't cut anybody slack, and just, like, that's not how I want to race. I will cut slack if it seems like I'm going to wreck my race car, but I don't prefer it.
I could totally see he probably is harder on Doug than he is anybody else.
Oh, I'd give Doug trash. Like,
So we can't. There's nobody that we can get a rivalry started, between you and somebody else, and say you talk trash about them.
They're trying.
We'll just edit the video and we'll put some stuff in there.
I mean, we've already done it with Jacob. Here with Jacob, he's been. Rick Powell said he can't drive and everything. So we're trying to get that started. I want to see if I can get something started with you too.
He wasn't good at 3 wide.
Huh?
I said he wasn't good at 3 wide.
I wasn't happy with that. I'll be. But, I mean, there's nothing you can do in that situation. I looked at it as if I stayed in it, we would have, all 4 of us would have been piled up in the fence down there. So, but I wasn't very happy with that move. I'll be honest. Like, it was 5 to go still. There was no reason to make that move that early. If we were coming to the checkered or coming to the white, I'd see it more. But we're coming to 5 to go. I don't see it then. And I would have been shuffled back on the top anyways, behind Cody, if he would have waited. I wasn't good on the top like I was last year. We've just been off. So
why'd you keep taking the outside then?
So the first restart, we did a bunch of changes, and I didn't know how it'd be on the top, so I just took it, and I missed a shift up there. They said I checked up because I jumped start. I just plain
Did you hit the brake pedal?
No, I did not hit the brake pedal. I made a personal mistake. I don't know what I messed up at, but I made a mistake, and I fell back on the top. And the second start, I didn't want to line up behind Cody, so I took the shortest row, and the 3 wide deal happened. And then the final restart, I want to line up on the bottom because, I mean, Nestor struggles on his shifts. So I thought if I lined up behind Cody, that I could just shuffle him out the way and he'd get shuffled back on the top and I'd win the race.
There we go. He done it. He was shuffled him out of the way.
That's not touching.
But-
You shuffled him out.
But Granddad and Bo said, "Oh, I think you're better on the top here," and it didn't work out. So we finished 4th, and I'm not going to put him to blame because I listened to him. I should have just did what I wanted, but I listened to the legend, and it probably messed me up.
No.
See, there you go. Now you done put the dog off.
No, hey man, you know we love you. We love all you guys because you guys are putting on a hell of a show. I think it's a ton of fun. I think the whole racetrack loves it. You know, here nor there on the move in turn 3 there for the win. Everybody's talking about you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's worth something.
Yeah. Well, the way you got to look at it, if you're a Jacob Derrick fan, you hate that move. If you're a Cody Bryant fan, you love it. Like you can't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're on Cody's team, you want him to do whatever it takes.
If you're any other race car driver, you're like, that move wasn't right. But if you're a fan in the stands, that whole race was an exciting race. Like as a driver's perspective, you're like, really pretty boring as a driver. And then as a fan, I guess there was racing everywhere and it made it exciting.
Right. And without the fans, we don't have anything.
No, like me personally, before that caution, it was boring because you're flipping and sliding around back there, and Cody's just like, I was even with Cody and Jacob time wise. Just Cody booted me on lap 5, and it ticked me off because I thought it was too early. Yeah, I thought it was too early, but I got mad and just raced over my head, and I burnt my stuff up.
Yeah, well, Cody said he knew he didn't have anything to worry about with you running behind him because you couldn't pass him. So he was good with that.
So he couldn't drive anyway.
That's not a problem. So.
No.
Derek said you can't drive no way, so then you might as well finish 4th.
Yeah.
All right, they're talking trash about you.
I bet. I mean, everybody talks trash. So, I mean, everybody does it.
Me and Scott talk trash about you a lot, so
Oh, I believe Scott does. Don't worry.
Oh, he does all the time, and that's just the way Scott is. You can't.
When you got to worry is when I'm not talking trash about you, because then I may not like you, but or I really do like you if I'm talking trash about you.
All right, well, we're gonna let you go get some work done because I see everybody working.
Yeah. Apparently, they ain't fast enough, so they need to get some work done.
I mean, they're working all behind him, and he's sitting there. He ain't doing nothing. So I figure we better get him back out there and help out.
Actually, car's in the trailer now. We're good.
Oh shit! Well, you timed it perfect.
I know I did. Perfect, man. Did all the work earlier, and now it's all done, and I didn't have a trailer.
All right, Riley. We'll talk to you this weekend. Good luck to you.
All right.
And don't let them push you around this weekend, okay?
I'm gonna try not to, but
well, Scott and I are going to do a track walk this week for the limited race.
okay.
So we're going to come down through there and talk to you before the race. I want you to say something bad about everybody that's in front of you. If you have people in front of you.
All right, I will.
Okay. All right, Riley. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right, man. Oh, well, my goodness, we're behind time here. All right, Jacob.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about you and Rick Powell. I mean, now that
Yeah, apparently I can't drive, and he's got a big motor.
How do you think about his big motor? I mean, I called down there and told Justin after qualifying he probably need to go check that vehicle to make sure the motor.
Yeah.
Rick didn't like that when I said that.
Yeah.
So
what just made you decide to buy another truck and get back into the trucks?
I mean, really, I had the modified, and I was planning to run mods, but with me, like I said before, I just started a business and everything like that. So I really wasn't planning to run the modified this year that much. And I actually had posted it for sale. So I had a guy in Maryland. He actually wanted to convert it back to dirt, and he bought it, and so that's where the modified went. And of course, I mean, you're a racer, you know.
He knows he didn't look at you, Joe.
He's starting it, not me. That's him.
I do have a problem with you telling me he's a racer and didn't look at me either. That's fine. But it's okay. Go ahead.
Well, you know how it is as far as trying to get out of racing. It is hard.
You don't
So,
get out of racing.
You don't. You can't. So I came across this truck and I got it for a really good deal. That's pretty much the only reason I did. I mean, I like it, and the thing with the trucks is, I mean, of course, through the years, everything has gotten pricey, but they're still affordable to run, and they're still fun, and they still have an aspect to them where it's still, I'm not trying to talk down about cars or anything, but like, it's still a race car in a way, as far as like it's rear wheel drive. It's still fun and everything like that. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much the only reason I got another truck.
So what was going through your mind when the seas parted down there, and then and of course, you know, they pulled the checker flag, and it was another restart.
Yeah.
Did you think at that point? I thought at that point, damn, I'm drawing blanks now. The 9 was going to be able to get to you.
Yeah. Well,
and then he screwed up on the restart or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, oh, he's gonna, you know.
I mean, as you could tell in the announcers, I guess the announcers had no faith in my driving ability at all, because they were all still betting on Rick. I guess they knew he had a big motor. So, I mean, I think that Rick and I, if he wouldn't have messed up that restart, I think it would have been a closer finish.
Oh, for sure,
than what it was. But I mean, I definitely think I could have gave him a good run for it.
Yeah, because I mean, y'all had a good pace there, running third and fourth there.
Yeah, we did. So my truck was just tight. It was extremely tight for the way I like to drive it.
So have you changed anything on it yet?
Yeah. I mean, I think we should have a pretty good piece for this weekend. So yeah, I mean, I don't know about motor wise. I can't compete with Rick.
I understand, you know. I mean,
he's not going to be there this weekend, so I might have.
Oh,
a
he's
shot.
not?
Yeah, we might have a shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
Rick?
Chris's truck. I
Yeah,
guess their truck wasn't that bad.
Who's?
Chris's.
No. Well, no. The only reason Rick's not going to be here this weekend is because his son has a baseball game. That's the only reason.
So in other words, basically what's going on is Rick's scared to come back out here
Pretty
racing
much.
you guys.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, you know, Whitney won the first race.
Yeah. Everybody knows about his motor now.
Brandy Marshall says we're instigators. She was.
What? I can't believe she'd say that.
Brandy said that about us. I mean,
I know. Look, when I was watching on Flow, and I was like, oh, I started to post, like, who's got a live video of Brandy right now? Because I know she's going crazy. So look, I love Brandy. She is entertaining.
I heard she did get a little upset. I mean, you know, that's what I've heard.
I seen a video. She was rather, although I seen Mini-Me right behind her. She don't stand a chance.
I think it was pretty cool, but you know, but I don't know where they get that instigator thing
I
from.
don't know either. I mean,
I couldn't have it tell.
All right, before we get off of here, I forgot to do something earlier.
oh man.
This week's GAC Enterprises LLC Gen X Motorsports Driver of the Week, Aiden Milet. Aiden Milet.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna give you any background on this or anything like that. Aiden Milet.
Had a good week. Had a good run.
And our VA811.com Driver of the Month, Buddy Isles Jr. We're going to Buddy Isles for the first time out in a, asphalt car, and he goes out and
With his own team, right? Wasn't it? With his own team?
no, he's with Mike Darn's. He's got Mike Darn's cars and everything, but he does have his own crew down there with him. But it's a Mike Darn car. So,
Still to run dirt all these years and then
That is-
go asphalt
that-
racing
that's
is
pretty
still pretty.
so
impressive.
anyway, Buddy Isles is our driver of the month, and Mayhem Management is giving out an award called the Mayhem Moment of the Week. The following award is given to Peyton Faree for his win in the second modified race. So that's the Mayhem Moment of the Week given out by Mayhem Management. So we're
It's
gonna,
even signed and everything.
yeah. And what we're gonna do is we're going to,
Official.
I'm gonna get get them in a plaque or a frame and bring them and give it to them when I get a
So
chance.
if you're going to be here this weekend, maybe.
I'll try to get that taken care of.
Well, Aiden should be here.
Yeah, Aiden will be here, so I'll get with him and I'm gonna talk to him about coming on the show because, you know, we've had Jacob and we've done had.
I wonder who he's going to talk
gotta-
trash about.
We gotta start something, so, you know.
Well, we didn't
No.
start anything. That was Riley.
So, yeah, Riley did that. It's like Jacob talking all that trash about Rick Powell.
I know.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure
You know we're good
before I get
friends.
home tonight, I'm gonna get a text message from Rick Powell.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's coming. I just didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jack's big mouth Jack.
He is. He wrecks my truck. You're paying for it. He'll drive right through me with a big motor.
So what's your goals for this year? You didn't clip off the win.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to actually get a win. Like, I mean, I count that as a win, but I'd like to actually get a win where I'm racing against Hunter and all them. I mean, it's pretty cool to see Hunter out here too, because I mean, he was actually on my team. He was actually one of my crew guys on my team in
You let him
2018.
work on something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
He don't sound too. Didn't sound too enthusiastic.
I let him fill the water bottle up.
yeah, they're kind of like Jesse. You don't really let him touch anything, but you let him stick around. He wanted me to say his name on here tonight, so I had to come in with some insult.
There you go. I mean, Jesse. Look, Jesse's been around a long
Yeah,
time. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how old you are. Well, you too. I mean, I remember both of you. Y'all weren't kids, but y'all were pretty damn
Yeah.
close, hanging around in arena racing days
yeah.
and that kind of stuff. So
But no, Hunter, he was on my team in 2018 when we won the championship, and it's kind of cool to see
that's
him.
where you got it set up from.
Yeah, pretty much. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. See, now
should
the
have
truth
hidden
comes
stuff
out.
more.
Yeah.
So no. So I'm excited to run against him. I think the truck class this year, honestly, as far as your up front guys, I don't think you're going to see someone just run away with it this season at all.
No.
I think you're going to have several different winners, and it would be nice to see. I mean, you got your people that are just starting, and it's going to be nice to see if they can make the improvements and stuff like that. And we have a pretty tight field. Pretty cool. So to see that again. So.
No, I agree. I mean, the four of you guys are probably going to be the guys to beat, right? I mean, you got you, Rick, Chris. and Hunter. You know, I mean, and I don't think the four of you guys will race very respectively and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to worry about don't
Yeah.
want to be on the outside of him or
Right,
whatever.
right.
You know,
Exactly.
and it is good because man, it's boring to watch one person dominate class.
It is. So I mean, it would be nice to.
To be the guy.
Well, I mean, it always is nice to win all the time, but also in the same sense, it'd be nice if we started. I think we started 13 trucks last weekend.
Yeah,
that
13.
opening night, and we finished with 4.
Is
So,
all of them?
I think. I mean, as far as I've heard, I mean, I'm sure most of them are going to be back out there. I don't know.
I ain't gonna tell you what
So
Hunter told me what his looked like.
I've seen pictures. I mean, his looks good.
Yeah, man.
We have the same sponsor, Collision Corrections.
Oh,
So, and I know his truck's good. I've heard with the 8 truck, he'll be back out here good. I know Rick's truck's all fixed up.
I think most of his cosmetic.
Yeah, all his was cosmetic. My truck already looked like crap before the start of the race.
Well, I mean, it came from Jared, right?
yeah,
I
it
mean,
did. It did. You know? No, I was
Did
kidding.
we give Jared a hard time?
Yeah. No, we got it straight, so should look.
So you had to basically redo that whole truck after Jared had.
Yeah.
I can understand. I mean, he's that kind of person.
I mean, especially when he gets his daughter's grandstock and runs second slower or something. I mean,
I wouldn't even admitted it. I just said, no, that didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about.
I never even ran it.
right.
Well, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank everybody for being with us. Jacob Carr, RYLEY Music. Hopefully Jacob get another big win here before long. If Rick Powell don't show up, he's got a real good shot.
I'm gonna say hopefully Rick doesn't show.
Anyway, next week's show. This was a concept we talked about last week, and I put it in.
Is this the Housewives of Langley Speedway?
The Housewives of Langley Speedway, but more like the mothers of Langley Speedway. And we're also going to have a couple mothers who are not Langley Speedway.
Okay.
But anyway, Brandy Marshall is going to
It's
be
a
with.
good thing we didn't make her mad tonight.
Well, we don't know that yet. Cassie Weiss, Atlee Weiss's mom, is going to be here. Heather Zedrich, Aiden Zedrich's mom, is going to join us on the show. And Amy Catalano.
And who's a
Oh, come on now. Come on, Scott. You need to do some reading for you.
I can't read.
Right.
I can't read.
Red Farmer told you you need to learn something.
They're supposed to send a damn cue card so I can study first.
Anyway, she has 4 sons running modifieds, and she runs
Oh,
modifieds.
Wow. Really?
She runs modifieds.
This is the one
That's
that
cool.
the boy roughed his mom up to win his first modified.
Where do they run it?
They run up north, Shamong, all those little tracks up
They
there.
come down here and they run like the Blueso race.
Well, yeah, but that's the only 2 of them come down here and run.
Yeah.
2 boys come down here and run with
The
that.
one boy wrecked his mom to win his first race.
That dang. Imagine their race bill every weekend. 5 modifieds every weekend.
Yeah, no, but they all work on them together. They all, I mean, they don't hire somebody. They all do it.
It's all right there in one building.
Dad,
Everybody's
works on it.
together.
Dad used to race. He quit.
Because he can't afford to race no more.
His wife was the racer.
Right.
So anyway, the son that dumped his mom or whatever, however that worked out, he said it was kind of hard there for a while. He was struggling getting something to eat.
About to say.
So he was having some issues with that. But anyway, that'd be fun to have them on next week and get a mother's perspective of what's going on with these race car drivers. We would have gotten Scott's mother to come on here, but she don't see no racing in him. So, so we don't.
You really can't when someone drives a Tesla.
Well, hey, you see the way he wrecked that car one time before. You probably
I've seen him in an arena, and most of the time, say his car's sitting up.
Oh,
That's it.
Did you race against him in the ring?
I didn't race. I never raced arena.
Oh.
I was out there a lot helping.
Oh, okay. You did race against him. Okay. Well, there was he had a habit of turning around on track and going the wrong way and running into people, and they can't.
Crazy.
They on the verge of getting the championship, and he took them out. Didn't get the championship. But anyway, thank you for being with us. Man, we appreciate Jeff Hammond for being with us this week. I mean, Jeff was one of my heroes, and I enjoyed talking with him, and I appreciate all his conversation we had a lot of the day on the phone, and he was talking with me about some things, and I appreciate that. Jacob Carr, be back.
Nice.
We'll get him back in here
Thanks,
again.
man. Thanks for coming, man.
And
It's always
be
fun.
Yeah, definitely.
one day we're gonna have you and Hunter
Yeah,
Waltrip
yeah.
and Rick
And
House
Rick.
all y'all in here. One
Yeah,
time.
we should just have this all.
Yeah, just have y'all in here one time, and then we can really start something.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll just.
So Rick might not show up if we keep talking about his.
We could bring a legal motor and then Rick's motor.
He's going. I'm going to get all kinds of text messages on the way home.
For sure.
Anyway,
I do say one cool thing was your daughter watching you win the race.
Yeah, that was
had to
really
be
special. It was pretty cool. So,
that's That's all. That's what it's. That's what you
it's
do
all
it for.
about.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do that.
For sure.
So.
All right. Well, we'll see you again next week. Please like and share our show, and we'll see you again next week.